Good morning. Good morning, people of God. Good morning, my brothers and my sisters. Happy Monday. I'm not going to work today, but I'm going to finish up some stuff. I left my oil pan draining on my truck. I drained the oil out of my truck. I just left it draining overnight. So therefore, hopefully all of that old oil gets out. But I'm making this video because my sister Carolyn, my sister Shannon, listen, um, you know, here's the thing. I love guns, and some of us, it's okay to agree to disagree. Um, Sister Carolyn, I think you're new to my channel, but if you go back in my community section, I've always shared guns. I've always shared guns and I've always supported it. And I just shared a recent video that I made 2 months ago. So maybe you can, if you research folk sometime before you subscribe to them or join on with them, you got to spend time watching folk, including me, because I realize that some people, if you disagree or if you don't like one thing about what somebody else likes, then that's a done deal for some folks. So you have to spend time studying folk. Um, because at the end of the day, we all entitled to what we like. It's our right. It's a part of being free in this society. And you cannot demonize folk who like things that you don't like. And I won't allow folk to be attacked. There are a lot of folk on my channel. There are a lot of brothers and sisters. There's a brother, he have guns and gardens. Shout out to you, my brother. People like what they like. And I've always said guns are not the problem. They're not. Wickedness is, evil is, you know. I have guns all around me, they can't go out. What do I have right here? As a matter of fact, I got mechanic right here. This gun cannot go and kill anyone. This gun cannot do anything wicked. It's a gun. It has no eyes. It has no legs. Has no feet. It can't do anything unless an evil, corrupt person get it in his hand, and that evil person will go out and bully and intimidate others, just like we've seen in what was it, Pennsylvania earlier this year. I made a video sharing that, where you see um, the crime has been really, really increasing, where people are bullying. They got gangs bullying people, pulling up to get gas. One lady said she was scared to come out of her home. I did a video on it. And you know what my response or my advice, my little 2 cents was to the government officials in that state? Neutralize those threats. Make it much easier for law-abiding citizens to obtain guns. Start a citizens academy and start training your citizens and backing them up when they rightfully defend themselves, and quickly clearing them of crime so that they don't have to go home and have that worry, that burden on them. Just like the brother in I forgot what it was, but I shared the video. There's a video I shared with a story with Brother Colinar. He shared where a guy was in a convenience store just grabbing him a case of beer, and here goes this other guy, runs in the store. He didn't see that other guy that had the case of beer. He was coming up to the counter to pay for his beer, and the criminal came in, went directly behind the counter, and had a knife. I don't know if he stabbed the clerk one time or sliced him one time, but he was on the clerk. I don't know if he actually, like I said, I don't know if he got him one time at least, but he was about to take this man's life, rob this man, and that citizen was in there, and pow, he was able to stop that threat with a level of force that was equal to or greater than the threat that this criminal had. And that's how it should be. People have a right to defend their lives and the lives of others, because what we are seeing all over the world, there is an increase of crime. And normally when the police are called after an incident has occurred, not before. So oftentimes, there was a city that I worked in once, got a call after the fact. This guy was in his front yard, and here you had this drive-by where these people just boop, 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 shot this young man down. A young guy shot him down in his front yard, and they left. They left the scene. There's so many times where we have seen, even within this year, where there are folk whose lives have been in danger, and there were citizens nearby who were armed, and they were able to protect those citizens' lives. So no, I will always support law-abiding citizens exercising their rights to bear arms. Jesus even said, if any man doesn't have a, a sword, let him sell his garment and go and buy one. It should be encouraged. And every time an incident happens across this country, you're going to have evil always happening. And the more you make laws, the more some of these states try to make laws, they're suppressing God's people from being able to get armed and protect themselves. They're suppressing God's people's rights from being armed. And crime is never going to stop. You got criminals now, they know how to make guns. They know how to do all kind of things. Wickedness is always going to be in the earth. So just because a crime happens, you should not try to limit or attack the people who exercising their rights to bear arms. Just realize we got wheat and we got tares in this earth living amongst us. And those who don't choose to carry firearms or like firearms, that's fine. I have no issues with people not liking firearms. The problem is you have some people who are, they will try to attack or demonize those who they see enjoying firearms. And that's not right. And I will delete and block. I will not allow that on this channel because there's a lot of people who do like firearms, and there's nothing wrong with that. I myself have taken a lot of my elders to the gun range, and I've spent time with them. I've taken a professor when I was in college. I took one of my professors, I taught her how to shoot a gun. I took, some of my other elders. I had an old aunt. She went leaning down on we have a good time when we go to the gun range. Then there's one aunt, my miracle aunt, she was terrified of guns. She didn't want to touch them. She didn't want them in her house or none of that. And that's fine. It's not an issue. People just like what they like and they don't like what they don't like. It's not an issue with some of you that don't like firearms. But don't try to demonize those who do. The issue is not the firearm. It's wickedness. It's evil. That's what we have going on in the world today. Evil, right? And so that's my standpoint. I've said it long time ago, years ago. I've always shared firearms. Just, if you go back to my community section and scroll down, you will see where I've always shared firearms. I like firearms, and there's nothing wrong with those people who like firearms. I believe every citizen should be armed, every law-abiding citizen, and I would always support that. And I will always support those who are in leadership positions supporting and making those laws happen, right? And we see where several states have gone and made it so much easier, passing laws for their citizens to be armed, and that is a good thing. We saw when it came to Ukraine and Russia in the beginning. Now, Ukraine is one that had very tyrannical laws against their citizens. They were not allowed to exercise their rights. But what happened when they started getting their butt kicks? When they started getting their butt kicked and this war started increasing at the last minute, they needed the citizens, the very citizens whose rights they took away from them. They needed those citizens to strap up and support their military. And many of them, they did it willingly. Some of them, they even had to hurry up and train them at the drop of a dime. They had to train them at the drop of a dime. And the way that this world is heading, God's people are going to be needed. God's people will be needed. I'm not saying in the same manner, but just in many different aspects. You're going to have to turn to God's people and seek God's people for advice. And I'm not talking about those who have a title claiming to be God's people, those who truly walk in the spirit of love and humility and have a relationship with the Father. You're going to need to seek them. Our government officials are going to need to seek God's people. And we need God's people in all areas, in all professional areas, in all aspects. We need God's people. We need the voice and the light of God's people. And for so long, God's people have been mistreated, muzzled, overlooked, and we see crime increasing. Whenever you put a righteous leader in a position who fears the Lord, who honors the Lord, and they give God they give God honor, you're going to see peace. Not saying that there won't be any crime. We will always have evil amongst us, but you'll see peace. Even when it comes to small things or things as, I remember I shared here a time ago. I remember when we had a hurricane coming to us and our governor prayed. He asked the Lord to protect his state and the citizens of the state. And you saw that hurricane just move right on by. Just this recent last hurricane was coming. When my cousin told me, I just went into prayer about it. And then my mom sent me a link where the governor was making a statement about it. And I saw this year before he started making a statement, he called up the chaplain and the chaplain began to pray and he asked the Lord the same thing to protect the citizens, protect the state. They prayed. And what did we have? What did that hurricane do here? It just dissipated. Dissipated. We got a little rain, but we needed that rain after all that heat. We was thankful. So it turned to be a blessing for us. Time after time, I have seen with my own eyes, not just when it comes to the weather. When you put a righteous person in leadership, they know how to treat people. Folk under their command. They don't want to leave. People don't quit jobs. They're not quitting jobs in this day and time. They're quitting leadership. They quitting mistreatment. That's what they're quitting. There's a revolving door in a lot of places because of bad leadership. A righteous leader will always bring things under order because he or she, they have the favor of the Father. You give them all the tools that they need. You put them in any area. You can put them in the worst area there is, and you give them everything that they need. And I can guarantee you that you're going to see crime decrease. Life is spiritual. So anyway, that's just my little 2 cents. I support every law-abiding citizen's rights to carry and bear arms and get proficient with your firearms. Yep, that's my little 2 cents and that's my stance. Guns are not the problem in the world. Evil is. And every time something evil happens, the people should not be oppressed. Their rights to bear arms should not be oppressed. So have a blessed day.